Hello, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about some tips that I think you should include in your resume for it to stand out. And I know there are various lengths and formats of writing resumes and CVs, but for the sake of just illustrating these tips, I'll use a one-page resume, which you can find a template in the description box of this video. You can click that link and then download the template and maybe prepare your own one-page resume if you don't have one yet. But today, let's talk about these 5 tips that I think we miss out a lot. I recently learned about these tips. So the first one is write accomplishments and not duties. This is what I mean. So you know the section where we write about maybe leadership experience or work experience in your resume. So assuming you're writing a resume for work or a resume for a scholarship or whatever it is. So instead of saying duties and responsibilities were to design number 1, 2, 3, to lead a team of whatever, instead of listing the duties and responsibilities that you had in that particular company, you write accomplishments instead, and you use action words. So things like led a team of 5 people to do a project in a time record of 2 weeks. You use action words. Led a team, organized a seminar that attracted over 1,000 people. Yeah, you get the point. Use those action words. I'll list some of these action words here so that you can choose or pick some to sprinkle in your resume. Number 2, quantify. And this is also connected to when you're talking about your accomplishments, or really when you're also listing your awards and recognition in your CV. And like we mentioned in this video of interview tips, we forget to quantify. If I say, for instance, let's say we were talking about my awards and recognition, instead of saying I was top of my class, paint a picture. How large was that class, etc, etc. So instead of saying I was top of my class or I scored first class honors, I would advise that you write top 1% of my class, a class of 1,000 students, something like that. That gives a different picture. Because if you are top of your class, or top 1% of a class of 5 people, and if you're a top 1% in a class of 1,000 people, those are different scenarios, right? So try and quantify. When you're talking about your accomplishments, you led a team of how many people? Don't just say led a team for 5 years. Say led a team of 1,000 people for 5 years, something like that. Try and quantify as much as possible wherever possible. I want to see numbers in your CV. I want to see percentages in your CV. Quantify. Number 3, use action words. And I think this is still related to when you're listing your accomplishments. And like I mentioned, let me just sprinkle the action words here so that you choose and pick some that suits your situation and sprinkle them in your CV. So use action words. Number 4, customize. Customize your CV or your resume. We tend to write one CV or one resume that we just send it all over for all the jobs we are applying, but we forget to customize. So most of the job adverts, or if you're applying for a scholarship, they will list eligibility criteria. They'll say we are looking for someone who has teamwork skills, or someone who has communication skills, someone who has leadership skills. We are looking for someone who has these and these and these skills. So you make sure you read the eligibility criteria or the skills and values and accomplishments that these guys are looking for. Then I would suggest that you use those words exactly in your CV. So, because I know in your past role, you were in charge of so many things. You did so much. You cannot include all those in your CV. So you make sure you pick and choose which ones of those relevant experiences that suits this situation closely. So for instance, if they are keen about choosing or taking leaders, if this company, they keep talking about leadership, things like those, you make sure in your CV, you bring out in every at the educational level, you make sure you bring out that you are a leader somewhere. At the work experience section, make sure you bring out that you are a leader somewhere. In the volunteering or leadership skill section, you make sure you also add, you bring out that leadership. And like we said, you quantify. You say, I led a team of 20 people for a period of 6 months where we accomplished or we improved efficiency, our work efficiency by 80%, or we increased company's revenue by 50%, something like that. So you have to customize, understand what the company or what the scholarship or whatever you're applying for, understand what they want. Do they want a team, someone who has worked in a team? You make sure you bring out that. You say, worked in a team of 10 people, accomplished this and this. Lastly, add some links. So I don't think this is compulsory really, but this is something that I've learned recently that I think it's really helpful, because most of the CVs, unlike sometimes back where people used to send CVs via mail and it is in hard copy, most of the CVs nowadays or resume nowadays you send via email, and that means it's electronic. And if you hyperlink, and this is what I mean, I'll put an example here. So if you hyperlink some sections of your CV, if someone is interested in you or they want to learn more about what you've done in the past, they can click those links and they can learn more about you. And if you ask me, I think if I'm a reviewer or a recruiter, the more information I have about you, the more I'll be biased towards, because I feel like I know you more compared to other candidates. So I'm not sure if most of those guys actually click those links, but I'll say add some links. I would recommend the first link you add is LinkedIn. So brush your LinkedIn and then add a link there. I would suggest maybe add the link somewhere, like in this example. You can really put it anywhere. And then also when you're talking about recognitions and awards, because you don't have a lot of space, especially if you're writing a one-page CV like this example that I'm showing, there is no much space to explain what was this award like, so that I understand. But then you can hyperlink it so that if I found this award very interesting, I see Schmidt-Sons Fellowship, I want to know what is this thing, and then I click on that link as a recruiter, and I'm able to see all these things that Gladys has done by clicking the link. So hyperlink or add links wherever possible. Lastly, I want to say, I know this is not all the tips that you need to know, but I just thought of these 5. For those of you guys, HR people and recruiters, those of you guys reviewing CVs a lot, let us know in the comment section if there are other tips that you think we miss a lot when we are writing our resumes. And also, just to add before I end, that I'm not saying this is the format that you should use. It's not a universal format per se, but if you ask me, I would say it really doesn't matter the format unless the recruiter or the people asking for your resume have a particular format. But I would say content and structure, if you ask me, are the most important things, no matter the format you use. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to join our community. Thank you. Bye until the next episode.